Hi, in this video we will create a custom user authentication method using Xano as an example. Here I have a small project with dashboard and I want to make sure that my users from Xano app can sign in. Let's create a separate user in Xano database. Add new column, name John, last name Smith, and let's make it test user at jetadmin.io. Let it be password 123. To make this work, we will be using endpoints from Authorization API. Double check if you already have one, but if you don't, it's easy to create. Click here and select Authentication. We will use Auth Login and Auth Me. Let's click on a login and select Users table. And default settings of this endpoint should be alright. Auth login endpoint generates a token using credentials from your database. Auth me endpoint, on the other hand, will use that token to get other credentials. Okay, we're all set on that part. Let's copy the base URL and head over back to JetAdmin. Here on the Data tab, you can see that I already have a Xano resource. But let's create a REST API resource for the authentication alone and paste the base URL here. We don't need to change those settings because we will change them elsewhere. And we won't need this example collection. We can set up actions to call our endpoints here, but let's do this in the authentication settings itself. Now, this is the place where all the magic happens. Create a new external authentication and select Custom. Let's name it, add an icon, and select a team to which users from Xano will be assigned to. All set. Now let's create a workflow to call all the endpoints from Xano. The first node contains login credentials. Those are the ones that user inputs on the sign-in page. Let's create a node that will trigger an endpoint to get the token. Since we haven't added any actions, let's create a new HTTP request. Let's double check the endpoint URL. The endpoint is auth login. Let's copy this and paste it in our URL. We will need to send two keys as query parameters. First one is email and the second one is password. Let's create inputs to pass them from JetAdmin to Xano. This one is email, and the test value will be the email that we created in Xano database. Same goes for the password. Create an input which named password. And our test value is password 123. Don't forget to change the query type to post. Now let's send our test query. Awesome, everything works. Let's copy the token to use as a test value on the next step. Next one will be the node to call the next endpoint, which is auth me. Let's double check the URL. Yep, auth me. Just type it here. We will need to send our token as a header. The key is authorization, and the value is bearer and the value of our token. Let's create an input to get the token from the previous step, and paste the token that we got on our test run as a test value. Let's send our request. Perfect. We can see the details of this token bearer. Last but not least, let's double check all the inputs of every workflow node. Let's input our email and password again. We're doing this to test that it's getting sent to the next step. Thank you, Chrome, but no. This step should be using inputs from the sign-in page. Here it's the email and the password. You can also rename this node just to keep track of everything. Click test to see if it works. Of course it does. Let's rename this node too. And this node should be using a token from the previous step as an input. And better safe than sorry, let's test it. Awesome. Now the final part. We need to pass the results to JetAdmin database. Let's pass the email from the previous step. Optionally, let's add first name and last name. That's pretty much it for sending the requests. Let's head a little bit back, click Save. Now, our new sign-in method could be used together with other methods. Here you can see how it's going to look like. But we can also disable all the other methods and keep just this custom one. Let's finally publish our changes. Let's open up a new browser instance to check the sign-in flow. Test user at jetadmin.io and password 123. And we're in. Let's close this and check if user got properly created in JetAdmin users database. Here it is. Subscribe to our channel, leave a comment if you have any questions, and see you in the next one.